Good morning. Hope you're having a great day. I know it's Tuesday, and Tuesday is usually my day to be at the beach. I chose to come here today because a lot of thought, and as I was trying to think of what to talk about today, and I sort of decided for a plan. My plan is for the next 3 days to take the components. You know, Phil has taught us about a 6-sided solution, right? So I want to make sure that as I approach this, I put it into the perspective of taking each of the triangle that I was most responsible for in this whole game plan of the 55 days and put it into a perspective of each day being a side. So we had the spirit, we had mindset, and we had cellular health. So that's what I chose to do, and that's what I chose to divide the next 3 days, because I told you I'd like to go this week and make it all the way to the coaches. So I said, walk in the spirit or live in the spirit for your best life. And that's, it comes back to James Allen and what he said to us about living in the solution. We have to live in a solution-based situation so that we're always looking not at the problem, but at the solution as we move through this. It is literally the difference between success and mediocre things, and that's that we expect to succeed. We expect to have a great life. If we don't, now you know there's some people walk around and it's doom and gloom, right? They walk over their little black cloud over their head and go, ah, right? So I specifically chose today to come to the church and stand in front of a particular icon. And because I wanted to speak not only to the 55 days. Good morning, Dr. Mike. Hope you're having a great day today. Hopefully you'll work out tomorrow. And when we expect to succeed, when we do the things in a solution-based walk, now we maximize our talents. We maximize our ability. We've put together a plan. So there's 3 dimensions of life. There's this mental, there's a spiritual, and there's a physical. Mindset, spirit, cellular health. Each must be nurtured each and every day of our lives. Each is separate in its makeup, but bonded together as one. When we nourish all 3, we get a total person, we get a total life, we get greatness, right? Or we get our best life, is the way we like to put it. So I'm going to contend to you that the spiritual component of the final triangle of the 6-sided success formula that Phil's brought forward in the 55 days is, I say it with confidence, is the most important component. And I say this because the spiritual part is what causes us our attitude, right? Remember we talked about Jim Rohn? And I know some people get a little skittish. This is not an altar call today or anything like that. They get skittish when I start to bring my faith of Christianity into it. But, you know, Jim Rohn used to say, the Bible is a book of lessons and warnings, and we can learn from all of them. So in the lessons we learn from there, I've pulled a couple today that I think really resonate with what's going on and go to this aspect of our mindset or our mental component of our bodies. Because our mental aspect, our mindset, is what determines our attitude. And Zig Ziglar again said, your attitude will predict your altitude, because your attitude is what fosters your actions. And we already know that our thoughts, our actions, and our outcomes are what create the culture and the life that we want. So for that reason, I chose when I came into this, if I was going to make a contribution, I wanted to be on the spiritual and the mindset part of this formula. You know, there's a difference between humans and between animals. Humans, we tend to think we're all the same because we're part of the animal kingdom. But animals have two needs in life: to reproduce and to nourish themselves. They want to eat, they want to survive, they want to reproduce, basically, right? Well, as humans, we have a lot more. We have these thoughts, we have these emotions, and they determine what we desire to have in life. So we go and we reach out and we foster ourselves with our thoughts and our actions. And what our desires are, what our thoughts are, begin to create what we will want and need in life. And I think that we find that we have a deep desire to have hope and love and other components of life that we see out there. That being said, spiritual qualities of desire, hope, care, being driven to succeed, these separate us from the animals, the animal kingdom, and the animal kingdom as humans as being a level above. You know, Phil's number one program, the first program was called Transfigured, that I knew about. Be Transfigured. His program that led to the metabolic reboot was called Transgenesis, to cross over, to create new. So many of the guidelines that he's used for his backgrounds in his program, I think, have come from his own spiritual journey and all the things that he's melded into him. Okay? So, like I said, no altar call, but sometimes I've been very cautious about when I come into the church. I want to make sure that you get the message from a holistic standpoint, not just the Christianity part of it. So J.P. Morgan, who's a multimillionaire, who when I read Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Norman Vincent, all these people talked about him. And he wrote, when he passed away, and I thought I had it with me, and I probably didn't. Yep, I forgot it at home. I brought a little card that said in his will, he has 10,000 words, 37 articles, but there's no doubt about how he feels about the spiritual component of his life, because he says when he gives himself up in the final thing, he says, and I come to my death and I understand that I will be presented before my Lord and God, cleansed of sin because of Jesus Christ's sacrifice. And I implore my children, and I'm paraphrasing, but if you go look it up, and maybe I'll post it later was what I'll do. I implore my children to continue the battle at all costs to build and believe in this spiritual component of their lives. That's a pretty strong thing from a guy who, when you read about him, is perceived only as success of his financial gain and being a captain of an industry, not a person who went out and spoke from the pulpit. So the reason this resonates so much with me to talk about in the spiritual component, about the strength and the importance of spirit, was because of this icon. I'm going to step aside. This is the icon of Christ up on the cross, okay? Now, book of lessons, book of warnings from the Bible, it says that when Christ was in the garden the night before he was taken and goes up onto the cross, his prayer, and I wrote it down here as a little note here to myself, his prayer that said that they may be one as we are. He prayed that the people he was leaving behind would be one, like the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit were. Not one physically, but one of mindset. Okay? One that they were all together in mindset. Phil has commented so many times in this program and to us privately about how pleased he was about how this program came together and why it had this wonderful energy and why this program was so successful in changing so many people's lives. And the reality of it is this. The reality is that every one of the 15 to 20 people that contributed as coaches in this, these people, okay, these people were not physically the same, were not philosophically the same. Tony doesn't train people like I train people. He possibly doesn't believe like I believe in politics. But what he does believe is in hope, love, altruistic, and oneness of mind we had. The oneness of mind was to transverse this pandemic we had and to make sure your life was better. And because of that, this beautiful thing came together. That whether it was Holly or Heather or Kristen or Dr. Brazil, we all had the same oneness of mind. And as Christ ascended to the cross, that's what he wanted for us. He wanted the people he left behind to have a oneness of mind so we could be together, so we wouldn't be separated. And that message resonates to me right now because I know Ariel has posted so many things about this. It resonates so much right now because we're not oneness of mind in this country. And if we allow ourselves to look at the news and get engulfed in it and do these things, we begin to lose sight of the blessings and the thankfulness that we should have for our own lives. We shouldn't be thankful that someone got killed like they did. That's horrible. But in our lives, we control what our solutions are. That's why we want to walk in the solution. We want to walk in our spiritual side so it doesn't disturb us. To really get spiritual with you, I would tell you, like, who wants to separate us? Right? Who wants to take this desire for hope and love away from us but the devil? Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to argue the devil's not real and that kind of thing. I'm a Greek Orthodox Christian. I believe in the devil. I don't follow him. I don't have faith in him, but I believe in him. So even though all the coaches were separate in their philosophies and their physical places and what they look like and how they train, we took on one mindset for you to be better, for us to help you. Hi, Nona. Must be early out in Montana. I hope it's colder than it is here in Daytona Beach. You know, when you get a new car, you take it and you oil change it and you take care of it and you take it to the mechanic and you look up and you wash it. You maintenance your equipment. So my theme today for walking in the Spirit, walking and living in the solution, and how important the spiritual component is that every day we should nourish our spiritual component. We should work to find likeness and come together. And in our own lives, it's the importance again that Heather and Holly will tell you about journaling. And journaling every day, when we think about our thankfulness, when the world around us seems like it's in disarray, we can find the unity. We can keep our mind healthy and we can keep our spirit strong. Because these are the important things for us to have the best life we can have. So, I'm just trying to think if there's anything I forgot to put into this today, because I know I wandered a little bit, because I got excited. And so I will post later J.P. Morgan's thing. But I'm prayerful this morning, because I know friends in the fitness industry that are being horribly influenced by what has gone on two fronts. The pandemic, and then this horrible thing of unrest that's occurred in our country. I know friends that have had their clubs broken into, and I'm prayerful for them. And as I talk to them, I know the greatness that they have because they're nurturing their spiritual side. And some of them are yogis, and some of them are Christians, and some of them are Jewish, and some of them are Buddhist. And that really doesn't matter to them. It matters that they have nourished that 1/3 of that final triangle. Because that mindset will determine your outcome. The things we talked about over the last several days. We talked on Sunday about faith, which will drive you through these hard times. Faith that we're going to get through it. Faith that there's a betterment for us. Faith is belief plus action. There is the component to us that persistence will stay there as long as we have faith. All of these, listen, these are spiritual components, they're not biological. The biological J.P. Morgan died. The spirit of what was in his will that influenced me today to speak to this, live on. So, back to Phil's program, the very first one, be transfigured. Be driven to nourish those three components. And today I talked about spiritual, tomorrow I'm going to talk about mental, which is the mindset. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm prayerful, as I always am, for all the people in the 55 days living a better life, my family, my business. Every day I have to start the day with those prayers of thankfulness and of hope and of love. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And remember, oneness of mind, pursuing our hope and our love. And we're not turning off. Hold on.